Hey friends, so the other day you might have heard about a little movie that came out. Yeah, just a little like indie movie. It's called The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. And I didn't go over the weekend because I knew it would be crazy at the theaters, so I actually went on Tuesday evening, cheap night, and the theater was also packed, probably because the seats were, cheaper, but I am recording this a few days later, so I'm gonna try and convey the feelings that I had when I walked out of that movie, because this video is a movie reaction. I'm just reacting to what I saw. Basically, when I walked out of the movie, I thought, okay, that was solid. It's a good movie, but it doesn't blow me out of the water. I did recognize the fact that this is only half of the book, and the thing is, the beginning half of Mockingjay has some interesting moments, but it is not the shit show to come in part 2. So that movie will probably be very emotional, very engrossing, to the level that I felt during Catching Fire. But with part 1, I was like, okay, I know some stuff's gonna happen. I reread the books this summer, so, the things are pretty fresh in my mind. And I just sort of went in knowing that I would enjoy it without loving it, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, when you look at these books, Mockingjay is the same size as Hunger Games and even slightly smaller than Catching Fire. So splitting this book in half means that there's gonna be a lot of extra time in a 2-hour movie to show things instead of telling them, which was actually nice because we got to hear Katniss sing the Hanging Tree song, which I've read these books multiple times and I'm never quite sure, what's the tune of the song? You don't get that from reading it, so hearing it was nice. We also got to see some more rebellion in District 7, District 5, so that was nice too, because instead of just it being mentioned in passing, it was actually shown on the screen because there was time to do so without making the movie 3.5 hours long. There were certain parts where I was moved. I could have cried if I really wanted to, but it was just sort of, just let it wash over you. I also thought the acting was really great. There was one actress in particular in which I was kind of like, ooh. The actress who played Prim, I honestly just wasn't really feeling it. There was a couple moments where I actually kind of cringed a little bit with her delivery, but everybody else was really solid, if not, above their game. The movie theater that I was in, there was a lot of people who were obviously very excited to see the movie, and so when certain characters came back on screen, like Effie and eventually Haymitch, people were like, oh yeah, they'd cheer or whatnot, and even actors at the very end when they came back, you could sort of tell how tense things were, and people were like, oh my god, yeah, because they'd forgotten, maybe because they haven't read the books, they just saw the movie, they'd forgotten that those characters existed. There was one thing that I had an issue with the movie, and that was the the propaganda pieces that they shot. When they were shooting them, they were fantastic. Katniss, played by Jennifer Lawrence, was doing a fantastic job as Katniss acting, because Katniss can't really act, so it was funny. And then seeing her in those actual moments that they take and use for the propos, that was fantastic. But when they were showing them in District 13, you got to see 2 of them. They just felt awkward. Maybe that was the point. I mean, when we look back at propaganda from the Cold War era or even World War II, they're funny. They just look just completely out of place and just out of this world. You look at them and think, who today would even fall for that? So I thought the propaganda would be a little bit smarter because it is in the future, things have happened, there's just a certain level that I expect from it, but I felt the propos were really awkward. There were people in the audience laughing. Not a huge amount, but enough that I could hear them, and I kind of felt the same way. It didn't feel powerful, and I thought they were supposed to feel powerful because here are these people from District 13 who are just, getting all excited about it, but it just, the propos could have been better. The other important part, especially when you're splitting a book in half, is where are they going to split the movie? There was one moment where I thought they were going to cut it, and I would have been totally okay with it, but they did one extra scene on top of it before they officially ended that portion of the movie, and it was a good spot. I was happy with where it was. The feelings that it left you with were perfect because you were worried about Peeta and Katniss and that relationship, but you were also worried about the end of how are they going to face off against the Capitol. So they sort of did a good job of balancing those two things because yes, Katniss and Peeta are our main characters and they are important, but there is this bigger thing that's happening around them, and it's important to recognize that and remind people that, hey, this is going to end badly. Like, there is going to be bloodshed in this last one. If you're kind of hemming and hawing about, I don't know if I want to see this movie or not, and you haven't read the books in a long time, go see the movie because you will have forgotten a lot of the stuff that will happen, and it will make it more interesting to you because all of those little parts will add up and, you know, they'll seem cool because you don't remember them. Having just read the book myself not too long ago, I was kind of like, okay, this happened. I was waiting for things to happen because I remembered them. So I think that sort of took away from the movie a little bit. Obviously, it's up to you, but that's sort of my recommendation. See the movie, enjoy it for what it is, know what you're getting yourself into, that it is sort of a slower build-up to the second movie, which will be crazy and I'm sure emotional and just horrible but awesome at the same time. So if you guys have had the chance to see Mockingjay Part 1, definitely let me know what you thought down below. If you guys end up getting a little spoilery down in the comments, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna like delete your comments or anything because this is a movie reaction. All of our links are in the doobly-doo. Check those out if you feel so inclined. Thank you guys very much for watching and I'll see you later.